Hey there, it's Nikki from Two Tribes Primal Living, and I'm making a video today. Albert asked me while I was in the mountains recently to kind of make a video and just touch on some things that I think would be a really good idea to share with our viewers and our new viewers, our new subscribers, and anyone out there who is interested in what we have to say. So last week, I was able to take a little trip, a little vacation from here, and return to the mountains of New Mexico. And in the mountains, it's probably a couple of hours of where we lived a year ago, and pretty much the same elevation, maybe a little bit lower, but not much. And same peace, same area, same nature, same trees, same all of the same elements around. Different environment a little bit in terms of why I was there, but all these I don't know, the just everything seemed to be the same. It was very receiving when I got there. It was very welcoming and embracing. And I was so super excited when my husband asked me to do a video, because I haven't done one in a while, and we haven't, we've kind of not gone on different paths, but he's taken some time, and we haven't done videos together as a couple. And so he asked me, he's like, "Baby, would you please do a video on what you received, the gifts you received from the mountains when you were up there, and come back and share that with our viewers." And then he said he'd like to start doing videos again together, so that way we can have more videos. So I think that was great, and I didn't hesitate. So we got up there, and when he asked me to do the video, I'd been there for a couple of days already. And then we came back a little bit early, maybe 12 hours earlier than we had planned. So I didn't, it kind of cut short my time. So I did the video here. So I've returned back here to the flatlands, and sat for a while, sat in reflection of a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, returning back to home. And you can go back and watch our videos and kind of how we felt then. And then going back to the mountains and what I came back with. And I have to say that the biggest gift, the biggest thing that I came back with was this sense of peace. We are taught and addicted to suffering. Everyone's suffering. Everyone's woe is me and their drama and what they have going on in their lives. And even when it's all good, we are addicted to seeking out suffering and bringing it into our lives and keeping it close. Like, we have to have suffering. An alcoholic needs his drink. A drug addict needs his injection or his pill. A pain med addict needs their pain meds. And as humanity, we need to suffer. And as I was up there, now mind you, the crowd was very different. So where we were before, we were in, it was kind of a hippie-ish environment. And I won't say it was just hippies. It wasn't a commune. But there was, it had commune vibes to it, and everybody was very much the same. They were very, very similar in how they dressed, what they did, what they looked like. It was very, very groupish. And this was more of a diverse, it still has a group feel, but this was a women's only thing. And so it takes on the divine feminine in certain aspects. And so the, different group, but being connected to the space allowed me to walk in and be like, I know this place. I know the mountains. I've been here. I've lived here. I could relate to them. I could talk to them. I knew the land. I knew the trees. And there was this embracing peace, overwhelming peace, and peace is the word, where you can just sit and have coffee and you can forget about this device right here, this phone or this computer that you're watching on, and you just sit and watch nature. There's no banging, there's no boats. It's kind of a peaceful day here, by the way. There's no airplanes, maybe a few random, but there's no cars driving by, there's no loud bullhorns or people interrupting. You just have this amazing sense of peace. And as I was out there, I really reflected on that peace and that sense of solitude. That I have spoke about it before. I've spoke about what it means to be alone, but a year ago, I probably was not really healed, and I say healed because I experienced a little bit of trauma in the mountain area, and that was trauma I allowed to get inside of me, and it kind of festered a little bit. But since then, in this past year, we've really grown. Like, that was the longest year ever up there. It didn't go by fast. It was very, very difficult, and it wasn't the land that was difficult, it was the interactions that were difficult. And we've come back here, and we've got our own sense of peace here, but the interactions aren't difficult. It's peaceful for both myself and my husband, and we have this space of gratitude because we are where we need to be. But returning to the mountains, I knew the land, and I remembered the peace, and I remembered all those things that, like the weather, all those things. And it was a sense of embrace, like I said. What I found in that peace was that we're all humans. And when we're born onto this planet, we don't have any preconceived knowledge of anything. We don't possess words or language. It's only through our parents, our guardians, our brothers, our sisters, those people who are surrounding us regularly through toddlerhood. They brainwash us into a language, assigning a word to a symbol. For instance, a tree we know is a tree in America, whereas in another language, it's not the word tree. But in America, we're like, oh, well, that word means tree. But to them, they're like, oh, well, the word tree means this. And it's all describing the same tree. But it's not a tree. The word is just assigned by man to a symbol, and that symbol being anything. I use tree because it's natural, and it's in nature, and there were plenty of them. Plenty of them. So we transfer. I've done it, you've done it, my husband's done it. We transfer that knowledge onto one another. It becomes a contract of such, and we associate with a group that communicates those words just like we do, and assigns knowledge to the word and word to knowledge. So knowledge is power in that realm of language and words. And in nature, in the mountains, there are no words. There is only presence. For instance, the dog, whatever it's called, whatever it is, it doesn't know it's a dog. It just does. It doesn't say, hey, I'm a dog and I deserve dog food and a biscuit. And it does what a dog does. It barks, it protects, it shits, it eats bones if we give it bones, it eats pastries if we give it pastries, which are not healthy for it. It's a dog, but it's more than a dog. It's whatever it is, it is. And we're the same. Same with the tree, same with the grass, same with the mountains. A mountain is a mountain, Apu is Apu, and regardless of where you're from, those two, they it's just a label. It's just a word we put on it. But it knows not that it's a mountain. It knows not that it's a poo. It knows not what it is other than it is. And that is the piece that I realized, that all the knowing, all the knowledge that we research, that we watch YouTube videos, that we read, that we go to courses, schools, and learn all these things, it kind of creates clones in regions that have words that they've assigned, or sounds that they've assigned to an item. And that becomes knowledge, and you put all those words together and it becomes knowledge, and then we read and research and are taught those things, and those are not peace. That's not present. That's not being. It's you're living somebody else's story of this is the tree, these are the dogs, this is the grass, this is the land, and you're defining things with labels. And that is the language of that group, whatever, how big or small that group may be. And in smaller groups, it's expressed in the way they dress, whether they wear, look at Buddhists, they might wear a mala, they might sit in meditation for years. Who knows? It's all identity. It's all these little groups, and all these things. The all aspects of life, they become words, stories, knowledge, beliefs, and agreements that are not truth. They're all lies. And I say they're lies because they're based on our individual stories. So what is true for me is not true for you. Identity is not truth. And identity creates chaos. Knowledge creates chaos. Words create chaos. Because if you don't agree with my words or my knowing or what I say, when I say that tree is a tree, if I say that's the pine tree and you say no, that's not a pine tree, we have disagreement in words. And words create conflict, and because they create agreements. There's an agreement that this symbol is this word, and you tell me no, this symbol is not this word, this symbol is this word. So it's interesting to return to that with that perspective, because a year ago I looked at the trees and I was overwhelmed by the trees and the mountains, and the group that we were with had all these words and this knowledge that was the right way. Follow us, wear these clothes, eat these foods, take these things, ingest this plant medicine, and you can be like us because we are doing it the right way. And when we think about that, we look at that and we go, it doesn't seem right, it doesn't feel right, but I'm okay with, I'll give it a try, because what do I know? We know everything. We know it all. We have all the answers inside. Our truth is inside of us. And when we are in truth, we are in peace. It's that easy. And so that peace is what I found on that mountain, because in the group around, there was, with all the crap going on the planet right now, that's always a hot topic of discussion. And the crap du jour, we'll call it, and it's always a topic of discussion to sit and listen to people talk about doing this or not doing this, or she should do this, or they should be doing this, or they should get this, or they should take this, or they shouldn't take this. And you can hear it, it's all around you. And finding peace amongst that, like, that doesn't even bother me. Neither side. I think my husband did the video the other day, are you a Tory or a Patriot? And they're divided. Should you or shouldn't you? And being able to transcend that division brings peace. I just, that was, you know, I returned home and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be where I am right now, and we don't want to leave. We're very, very grateful. There's so much joy here for us. And returning to the mountains, minus the forces that disturbed us, that hurt us, that gave a little trauma, I was embraced by the mountains and the energy of the mountains and the land. I was able to take off my shoes and just be at peace. The dogs, there's the Great Pyrenees up there. They speak to me. They, you know, and I'm not talking with words. I'm talking with their energy. And there's an embracing with that energy that is so different than trying to converse and say, sit, roll over, lay down. That's control. When we control something, we tell it what to do. When it does it, we praise it. And when we aren't controlling something, we let it be. So there was a story, and it was a funny story that I was reading, and it was about a son and a dad, and they were on a trip, and they've been traveling all day, and they decided to go eat, and they were in a place where they had a really nice restaurant, and the son was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go change. Dad went and changed, so they were in separate rooms, and I'll meet you in the lobby at so-and-so time. And son comes out, and he's dressed up for this nice restaurant, probably 5-star dining establishment, and the dad comes out, and he is in house shoes and pajamas. And he's like, okay, let's eat. And the son didn't say anything, but he was like, oh my gosh, what is he doing? And they sat down, and, you know, people were looking at him, and because he had on pajamas and slippers. And finally the son said to the dad, you know, this is a nice restaurant. Why couldn't you dress up? Why'd you have to come down in pajamas? And his dad looked at him and he said, why are you owning my responsibility? Why are you taking ownership and getting embarrassed for what I am wearing? That's my responsibility. That's my world. That's me. And he was right. You know, this guy was getting embarrassed and trying to control his father. You should have done this. You should have done that. And his father was like, no. And his father was teaching him a lesson, but it doesn't matter. When we control others and tell them what to do, control animals, control people, tell people how they should cook, how they should clean, how they should put something together, how they should dress, how they should be, how they should live, how they should smile, what they should say, if they should hug or not. I mean, when we tell people or get embarrassed by people, we are controlling people, and we're not letting them be free, sovereign individuals. And we are all sovereign individuals, and we're only responsible for ourselves. We are the main character of our play. We are the core of our masterpiece of music. We are what is the canvas of our art. We are the sculpture and the sculptor. We are whatever we're growing in our garden. We are the garden. And when we tell others how they should do it, we're not letting them be the masterpiece. We're not the master of their masterpiece. And there's no peace. Masterpiece. There's no peace. So it's our world. It's our story. It's our canvas. It's our experience. And when you're in that experience as the primary character, you are the primary character, then you're at peace. You enjoy, you love the experience, regardless of what the little mealy mouths are talking about. You find humor maybe in it, maybe you giggle, but you don't own there, and you don't have to debate them. You can hear them from afar talking about what you should and shouldn't do. You can hear them, but you're at peace. And that was what I got from the mountain. It's what the mountain reminded me, going back, returning to that space. I had an overwhelming sense of love, and I experienced that feeling where I cry anytime I'm connected to source or higher power or God or whatever you want to label the energy that is divine. It is overwhelmingly beautiful. It's overwhelmingly light, and you just feel like, I just feel connected, and I've experienced it so many times. I know it when it's there now, and it was there, and I was at absolute peace. There was no irritation. There was no fear. There was no group telling me what I should or shouldn't do, and so I came back with that sense of calm, and that sense of peace, and that sense of shedding a need to use words to describe things other than the words that we speak, and I'm not speaking in another's language, but recognizing that me speaking is not an experience. You can't experience what I experience because you taste differently than I do. An apple tastes differently to you than it does to me. A pear tastes differently to you than it does to me. Flowers smell differently to you than they do to me. The trees, the water, the colors around me impact me differently than they might you. I see green differently than you see green, and that's it. We are here in our own story, and we are the primary. Everyone around us is secondary characters, or they're people. They're not. Some of them are cameos of our life. So when we put all the energy into making our secondary characters and cameos happy, it kind of messes up the film. It kind of messes up the video. It kind of messes up the movie or the art, because you are the core of your art. When you align with that, you are at peace. You cannot be disturbed. You won't try to change others to make you happy. You will only, if you want to be happy, make the changes within yourself without others around you telling you how or when or why or where. So, in closing, if we could all remember that, humanity as a whole seeks change, that we seek to change. We seek change of suffering, and we seek change from our situations, and we seek change for our financial issues, and we seek change from whatever it is. We seek change. If we could just stop for a moment and change the main character of the story that we're in, that is us, our individual selves, then we can change the planet. And that is the only way to change the planet. But when we change ourselves without trying to change others, the world opens up for you, and the same experiences look vastly different. And there's a sense of peace that's all around us. So find peace. Be the change that you're looking for so that you can have peace. Don't try to change the people around you. Don't try to lay your suffering on them and make them feel sorry for you. You've had to experience this. Poor you, poor you. Change yourself. Align with yourself. love yourself so deeply and so unconditionally that nothing else can disturb you. The others are just secondary characters. They're not the main actor. They're not the superstar. You are. And if you can remember that, then you will find peace. So, that being said, I'm going to close right there. Like, subscribe. It's kind of a different video because I know it's just me coming back and just reflecting. But like, subscribe, and you can leave a comment on peace if you want to, or ask a question about how your life is a little bit of turmoil, and maybe we can help answer that. But talk to you later. Be well. Be in peace.